This is a Pave Hawk helicopter, we understand, from RAF Lakenheath, which is one of two huge US Air Force bases in Suffolk, which have, in particular, Lakenheath is home to the F-15 fighters, but also these helicopters. They use those for special operations, and presumably this may well be why this helicopter was flying at night, perhaps on exercise. We understand it came down at around 8 o'clock, about a mile and a half from where I'm standing. I'm in the village of Salthouse, which is near Holt, in an area of marshland just very close to the coast. As you say, 4 what we presume to be US Air Force personnel have died in that helicopter crash. At the moment, the area is cordoned off. There is a 400-metre cordon around this area. Another US Air Force helicopter, we understand, has landed very close to that to provide assistance and some expertise on perhaps whether there are any dangerous substances on board that aircraft. There is a large presence of police, ambulance and fire engines here from right across Norfolk, really waiting to see what they do next. Now, we understand, having talked to a senior fire officer, they're really at the moment waiting for first light. We don't know whether they have removed the bodies of those 4 personnel. There were some fears initially that this was actually a helicopter perhaps going to and from some of the offshore platforms, gas platforms that we have off this part of the east coast. There's some concerns there. Some lifeboats, 3 lifeboats in fact, were scrambled initially from the coast here in the east, from Cromer and from Sheringham, because they thought this was initially out at sea. But we now obviously know tragically this happened a short distance from the coastline. At the moment, we understand some of the fire engines have been stood down. The word here really seems that they're going to wait for first light to see what they do next.
Simon, can you confirm if the 4 people who are believed to have died were actually on board the helicopter, or if anyone actually perished on the ground as a result of this thing coming down?
We don't yet have that detail. All we have is confirmation from the US Air Force at Lakenheath that it is one of their helicopters. So we are presuming, given the size of this helicopter and the usual crew on board, perhaps that these are 4 USAF Air Force personnel who were on board that aircraft. So we don't know yet whether anybody perished on the ground. At the moment, we don't have any information to that effect.
And what about the weather in the area at the time of the crash, Simon? Well,
remarkably, perhaps, we obviously had terrible weather across other parts of the country today. This has actually been fairly mild and clear here this afternoon. We had terrible rain this morning, but it's actually been a fairly clear night. Perhaps one reason, speculating really, perhaps that's why they actually conducted this night mission, this exercise perhaps today. So the weather, from the limited information we have, doesn't seem to have played a part in what's happened.
OK, Simon Newton there at the scene, Clyde next to the sea. Many thanks, Simon.